to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and with me today is Yvonne Wagner, our newest school board member. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you so much.
I am excited to have you on the show as being one of our newest out of 2 new school board members.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little background about your career.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say that I am a product of Norfolk Public Schools, and my last teaching position was at Booker T. Washington High School, and I work as an educational resource teacher, and I actually opened up Booker's Brew, which I loved, and I worked with ID individuals, and I could just see the wonderful progress, and it was just so exciting to see how well they grew under that program.
I had an opportunity to come and do a story on your Booker's Brew.
Yes, you did.
Tell the audience a little bit more of what that Booker's Brew was about and the type of knowledge and skills you helped the students with.
Okay. It actually, the birth of it came out of employability. What can we do to make sure that these kids become viable citizens once they leave Booker T. Washington High School? So in teaching employability, you know, the idea was, let's do something. Let's give them some hands-on things to do. So we thought about a coffee shop, and it just kind of grew into a coffee shop slash snack shop or whatever. And the students actually learned hands-on things like how to do the register. They actually counted change back, which was phenomenal because a lot of kids cannot, or adults cannot do that. They actually took the cart around, they took orders. They delivered. Some of them went to the store with me. They learned how to shop. They learned how to make a list. They actually got a check, and they went to the office and they learned how to endorse a check. And of course, they got a little stipend at the end of each month, which they were very excited about.
And I'm sure you made such a positive and great impact on those students.
Well, I would hope so. We actually did cook also. So each holiday we would do something special, cook some kind of meal. So hopefully I made an impact. They made an impact on me. It was very positive and very rewarding.
And I'm wondering, is that part of the reason why you chose to be on the school board?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's all about the children. They are our customers. And it gave me a chance, or it's given me an opportunity to see what kind of impact I can make in terms of what's good for children.
And you belong to a particular advocacy group here in the area.
Well, it's called it's the alumni group, excuse me, for Booker T. Washington High School. Excuse me, because I am a product of Booker T. Washington, I won't say what year, but we all got together as a group and decided that we wanted to make an impact. And we wanted to see what kinds of things we could do to, number one, assist in getting our beloved Booker T the accreditation back, and what kind of impact we can make on children, mentoring, helping out with testing, even getting into the community and working with the parents. So
what key issues do you think our school board currently now is facing?
I think the key issue right now is finding a leader, looking for the superintendent, because you always need all pieces to make it work, and because of that vacancy, I think that's our priority right now.
Now, looking forward to being on this board, what do you think are some things that you would like to do, or some changes you'd like to see happen?
Oh, I'd like to see definitely an impact on what we can do with children. Get definitely more parental involvement. I'd like to look at more of the hiring practices to see if we're really finding the correct people for the schools, vetting them properly, looking at the test scores and making sure that we emphasize good teaching as opposed to just test scores.
So how do you personally feel like you can impact and make a positive impact on the board?
Number one, be committed. And I truly am committed to in terms of making the impact. Number two, policy. Making sure that the policy is in place and that we are in compliance with that. And number three, support. Support for the administration and support for our teachers, because they are on the front line. They are the people that are doing the work. They are the ones who handle our customers. And just to make sure that they know that we're there for them.
Right. So when did you know you wanted to be a part of this school board?
Well, actually, I didn't know. It was not on my bucket list, trust me on that one. But because I am an advocate in the community and I've been very involved, I was approached. Why don't you, since you're always trying to make a difference, let's do it in another way. Get involved with the school board. So because of that, and I thought about it and I gave it much prayer because I know that it is a big job and it is a commitment.
Right.
I decided that I would just go on and do it and see what happens. And hence, here I am.
And here you are. So with you having those thoughts, why do you think it's so critical and important for parents to become involved in what's happening with Norfolk Public Schools, not just in athletics, not just at school programs, but getting involved in Norfolk Public Schools?
Well, we're only a piece in terms of the growth of a child, you know, and you really want to educate the holistic child. We can only do that if we bring in the family. Because we have them one part of the day, they leave there and they go home. It's got to be a collaborative effort. So it is so important that the parents are aware of what's going on and that they involved. And certainly when you show some kind of, when there's ownership, there's growth.
So what is your desire for you to see you and the newest school board member and the other school board members come together and do? Is there like one particular goal you want to see happen within this first year?
Unity. You know, I want us to have the team effort, the cohesiveness, and have a united front in terms of putting our efforts together to make sure that this school system becomes the successful program or institution that it can be. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I know it can be good.
Right. And I'm sure through your advocacy group, you want to show the community that you can come together.
Absolutely.
And be positive.
Absolutely.
And make a difference.
And we can. And we can. That's one thing about it. We can move up, always.
Always. Well, it's great sitting to get to know you. I know you already, but I'm glad our audience has an opportunity to get to know our newest school board member. So thank you for coming on NPS Now.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now. Welcome back to NPS Now. We're interviewing our two newest school board members, and with me now is Tanya Bhasin, our newest school board member. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you for having me.
I've seen you at board meetings and other strategic planning meetings. You've been very involved in Norfolk Public Schools, and I've seen your babies involved in these meetings too, so I see you're truly invested here at Norfolk Public Schools. So tell me, so the audience will learn a little bit more about you, about your career, where you're from.
Well, I grew up in Delaware. I know you blink and you might miss it, but I grew up in Delaware. Went to college in DC, moved to Atlanta for my graduate program, and lived there for 12 years before moving to Norfolk and calling Norfolk my home. And here I am. So my career is in public health. In maternal and child health specifically. I worked for the National Center for Birth Defects and Developmental Disabilities, doing epidemiologic research around developmental disabilities in particular, which includes looking at risk factors for the causes of, risk factors for autism, cerebral palsy, intellectual disability, hearing impairment, and vision impairment. So,
wow.
Yes, and I stay up to date and have continued to stay fresh in my field. So,
and you're a mom of 3 children who are in Norfolk schools. What schools do they attend?
That's right. Right now, they're all in a little bit of a transition. I have had 3 at Taylor. I have a rising 4th grader who's going to be going to Academy of Discovery at Lakewood, and one who'll be attending Ruffner Academy in the Young Scholars Program.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, tell me, why did you become a part, or why did you want to become a part of the Norfolk School Board?
Well, I think being part of the school board is probably one of the greatest investments anyone can make in the community. I truly believe that our public schools should be and can be the cornerstone of this city. And with that in mind, I wanted to step up to the plate to be part of the successes that Norfolk Public Schools has had and will have, and also to help my board mates work through and overcome some of the challenges so that we're aiming for high student achievement for all students. And that's why I wanted to step up to the plate.
And I know you're a part of a local advocacy group called Norfolk Gains.
That's right.
Did being a part of that board encourage you or motivate you to want to be on the school board?
Sure. As you know, as being part of Norfolk Gains, which is growing and investing in Norfolk schools, we've been educating the community about the needs of the school division, advocating and raising awareness around having fully funded schools. And, you know, we've also, as you mentioned earlier, participated in various committees in the school division, ranging from the strategic plan, the school construction, the facilities usage study, various committees, parent and community engagement. And I think that being in this time of transition, in particular with a new superintendent and moving to an elected school board, I think having individuals with a proven interest in our school division who know what some of the issues and challenges are, and who also know what some of the successes are, is really critical. And so I felt that I could come in and hit the ground running with my knowledge and background.
And you mentioned saying key issues. What do you feel are some of the key issues the school board is facing right now?
Well, I think one of the key issues is high student achievement for all children. I think we are making progress in many of our schools that have been struggling, but I think having high student achievement and high expectations for all children is a key issue. And now in getting there, I think we need to first hire a strong instructional leader, which is going to be first and foremost on our priority list, which we have already engaged in that process. So, but I think that is I think high student achievement is the primary goal for the school division.
So as a new member, what are you looking forward to do or achieve as a new member and being on this board?
I'm looking forward to setting clear goals and expectations for the school division in collaboration with the interim superintendent and then our permanent superintendent to come. I think we need to have clear goals, measurable objectives, and be very clear on our path to achieve those goals.
How do you feel that you personally, as a board member, can make an impact?
I personally feel that I can bring my understanding of the use of data to help develop, evaluate the policies that are in place, since essentially that is the role of the school board, is to be policy driven so that our superintendent and staff can do the job at hand and to work collaboratively with the superintendent and administration to do that. So I feel that my skill set in understanding data will be helpful to the board. I also feel that my involvement in the community, in strengthening the community dialogue, I think will be an asset as well. And I feel that I'm a team player, and I think I'm really excited about working with 6 other very talented people in moving the division forward.
And as a parent, you're very involved.
Yes.
But why do you think it's important, as a parent, from your perspective, for them to be involved in Norfolk Public Schools, not just in the sporting events or athletics or the activities just at the school, but just why do you feel like it's important for them to get involved and advocate for their child?
I think it's extremely important for parents and guardians to be involved with their children. I think they are the co-educators of the students in our system, and it's a partnership between the teachers and the parent. Children come in with various needs and require various supports, and we need to collaborate to make sure that they are getting what they need. Now, I think parents need to be involved. I think it's very important that the parent is not only involved in their own child's education, but to be involved in their schools and other schools, and even, so that we have a more equitable participation from the community in making sure that all of our schools are successful. So I think that parents, where right now there may be some apathy in the community for rallying around our schools, I think now is a prime opportunity. I think it's an exciting opportunity. I think parents, parents, community members, business leaders need to rally around our schools and make it the cornerstone that it can be.
Wonderful. And thank you. I'm glad you came on the show so we learned something about you, and we look forward to your role on the school board.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now. Welcome back to NPS Now. With me now is our new Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Kipp Rogers. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you, and we wanted to bring you on the show because you're new and hear a little bit about you. So tell me a little bit about your background. Where are you from? Where'd you go to school?
Thank you for asking that question. I am originally from New York, New Jersey area, and I've been in Virginia for the last 23 years, and I claim Virginia as my home. I am coming directly from York County School Division. I was there 5 years as the Director of Secondary Instruction, and prior to that, I was in Newport News Public Schools for 18 years, where I was a middle school teacher, high school teacher, for some part, an elementary teacher. I also was a middle school assistant principal, high school assistant principal, middle school principal, an elementary principal, and currently I am Chief Academic Officer, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
What a vast array of experience.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you did mention you're also an accomplished author.
I am. I don't usually tell a whole lot about that, but yeah, I am. I've written 4 books actually, and the 4th book is due to be released in early fall, so I'm super excited about that. It's about bring your own technology, and I think it'll be a great resource for educators.
So bring your own technology.
Yes.
So each book is about technology?
Every book that I've written has each been about technology. The first one was about using cell phones in the classroom. At the time, it was unheard of at the time, so it's just a resource for teachers. And then the second book dealt with mobile learning, as well as the third book. And the 4th book is about bringing anything to classes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Kids be interested in reading that?
Well, I don't know so much for kids, but probably more for educators.
Oh, okay. Because they want to bring their technology to class. That's
Absolutely.
why I say that.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Well, tell me, why did you select Norfolk to further your career?
You know, that's a great question, and surprisingly, Norfolk has always been a school division that I've wanted to work in, being from an inner city area. I was raised in Brooklyn, and Norfolk definitely reminds me of my home, and which is what attracted me to Newport News. And I started teaching in Newport News and did very well professionally in Newport News, but I always had my eye on Norfolk. Norfolk was, at the time of my earliest teaching, a go-to school division in terms of urban education. And one of the things that attracted me now is the idea that the position that is essentially my dream job right now. I've been in education 23 years, and initially and I know this may be more, the position was posted once, and I saw it, and I thought, surely as big of a school division as Norfolk is, that someone internally would certainly be groomed to fill that position. So I didn't even apply. And the second time when I saw it, I said, this
sounds like
somebody's telling me that I need to at least put my hat in the ring, and I absolutely did. And I was super excited to even get called for an interview. And when I interviewed, it was just a right thing and a right fit for me to do. So I think the area, I do have connections to the area. As I've mentioned, I've been in Hampton Roads now for 23 years. I went to school in Norfolk. I got my master's degree from Old Dominion University. So I like the Norfolk area.
So what experiences do you feel you have to help or work in an urban district?
That's a great question. As I mentioned, I was in Newport News, and Newport News, the population that Newport News
kind of
educators
mirrors
serve,
Norfolk?
it almost identical, if you would say. I think there are more students here in Norfolk than there are in Newport News. But I think the clientele in which we serve are commensurate. You have students that come from very affluent backgrounds, and then you have students that are essentially living from day to day and just happy to be able to have a place to go to, have somebody that cares about them and they can learn or even eat a meal for that matter. So I see some distinct similarities in terms of demographics there. Of course, I've not met many students in Norfolk, but of course I see what's on paper.
Yeah, so what are some key, knowing what you do know, some key academic goals or ideas that you have for Norfolk?
Reading, focusing on reading, actually literacy, reading and writing, that's particularly at the elementary level. Also at the secondary level, and finding out at the elementary level you're teaching students how to read, and at the secondary level you're teaching students how to read to learn and to master those skills to transfer not only in English classes but as well as into other content areas as well. And then the other thing is just getting back to basics and mastering basics, things like lesson planning, things like differentiation, there's a system called response to interventions where you're looking at data and you're meeting students where they are and taking them where they need to be based on that data and providing interventions for them. And the other thing, and that my area of expertise is integration of technology into education and making learning fun for students, and helping them to learn using technology because they have access to it, both at home and at school. Most students do, and leveraging that technology for them to be successful in the classroom as well as outside of the classroom.
All right, so what are you most looking forward to do as Chief Academic Officer in Norfolk? What is like the one main thing outside of literacy, but in addition to that, you'd want to see accomplished?
Motivating and inspiring students to be what they want to be, and producing good quality students that are going to be productive citizens and have ties to the community, make the community better. It sounds Oprah-esque, for lack of a better word, but I'm being honest. I'm absolutely being honest. I think all students can learn, but they learn at their own capacity, and I think all students need structure, they need resources, and they need people who care about them. I think as educators we don't have any control of what takes place outside of the school, but we have total control of what happens to them when we have them in school. So I think my role as Chief Academic Officer is huge. This is a huge school division, and that it's going to be my responsibility to make sure that I am motivating, inspiring, and providing resources and structure for those that have direct contact with our students.
How do you think you can engage the parents to get more involved in their child's education?
Okay, that's a great question, and it's one that I kind of had very briefly with the producer of this show and asking about providing resources from the digital perspective. And I think there are many different ways in which we can engage our parents and families, but one thing that we have to do as a community, or do more of, or kind of think about, is how we can make schools a place where they're feeling as if they're welcomed to it, because everybody's experience at school is not a great one. And sometimes, more often than not, parents who shy away from schools have not had fantastic experiences at the school. But I think parents who send their children to us want to feel as if they're sending their students, their children, to a place where they're treated fairly, they're special, and that they're loved just as much as they do at home. So I think that we have to take care in how we market activities and resources for parents that they can use not only in schools but at home, but also stuff that's value added to them.
Great.
Sure.
Well, I think you're going to be value added to us as a district, and we look forward to getting to know you up close and personal today, and we'll definitely have you back on the show again to talk about how things are going academically for Norfolk schools. So thank you for joining us
Well,
today.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. And we want to thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS, Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at npsnews@npsk12.com. Again, thank you for watching NPS Now.